All right, now we're on to independent practice. It says, use the bar graph to solve the problems. Today, friends, I'm going to be working on doing all the even problems, and I'm going to leave the odd for you to work out on your own when I'm done teaching here, so that way you have some practice before your quick check. So looking at question 4, it says, were fewer students absent on Monday or Friday? And then it wants to know how many fewer. So I have to go over here to my graph, and the first thing I need to figure out is how many students were absent on Monday. So I see that 5 students were absent on Monday. Then I need to figure out how many students were absent on Friday. So I'm going to go across my graph to Friday and go up, and I can see that 6 students were absent on Friday. So 5 students were absent on Monday, and 6 students were absent on Friday. So were fewer students absent on Monday or Friday? Well, fewer students were absent on Monday, and I know that because 5 is fewer than 6. But then it wants to know how many fewer, so I need to compare those numbers. Well, Friday there were 6. Monday they were 5. So I'm going to do 6 minus 5 equals 1. So then I can say that there was one fewer students that were absent. All right, number 6 says, on which 2 days were the same number of students absent? So again, I'm going to go back to my graph. I'm looking to see if there's any 2 bars that are the same length. So I see Tuesdays at 2, but there's no other bars that stop there. I can see Thursdays at 4, but again, there's no other bars that stop there. Mondays at 5, and Wednesday's also at 5. So Monday there were 5 absences, and Wednesday there were 5 absences. Let's check Friday just to be sure. Oh, nope, I remember Friday had 6. So the 2 days of the week where there were the same number of absences were on Monday and Wednesday. All right, and our last one on this page says, the graph shows the number of students absent last week. This week, 19 students were absent. Compare the number of students absent this week to the number of students absent last week. So we know how many students were absent this week. They told us 19. But we don't yet know how many students were absent in all last week. It tells us that it shows the absences on the graph, but nowhere does it give us the in all amount. So I have to add all of the days, all of the absences each day together. So I need to look up here, and I see that Monday had 5 absences, so I'm going to say 5 plus Tuesday there was 2 absences. Wednesday there was 5 absences. Thursday there was 4 absences. And then Friday there were 6 absences. And now I need to solve. So to help me solve for how many absences there were last week, I'm going to look to see if I can make any 10s, because this is a lot of numbers to add. So I can see here that I have a 5 and a 5. That makes 10. Then I can also see here that I have a 4 and a 6. That makes 10. So I know that I have 10 plus 10 more, which is 20, and then I need to add this 2. So 20 plus 2 is 22. So last week there were 22 absences. This week there were 19, and it wants me to compare the numbers. It wants me to see what is the difference between those 2 numbers. So remember, friends, the difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So I'm going to get another text box here so I can solve for the difference between these 2 numbers. I had 22 that were absent last week. I'm going to subtract because I'm looking for the difference. The 19 from the week before, from this week, and then I'm going to solve for that. So 22 minus 19. I can do this a couple ways. I can count on from 19 to get to 22. I could count back from 22, 19. I could break apart my numbers. I could line them up. I'm going to count on from 19 to see what the difference is. So I'm going to put 19 in my head. I'm going to go 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, I got 3. So now I know that the difference between them is 3. So compare the students absent this week to the number of students absent last week. Now I can draw a conclusion. I can say that 3 more students were absent last week than this week.